I spent thousands making sure my little boy had the perfect dinosaur celebration, custom cake, games, everything. But once we got there, my father took the microphone and handed it to my nephew, saying, "Let's give the spotlight to our real champ." My son quietly removed his party hat, his smile gone. Without a word, I collected the gifts, canceled the catering, and left. By sunset, every table was deserted, while my phone flashed with missed calls I never intended to answer. "Stop pretending you ever cared!" Mason's voice echoed through the dining room, sharp enough to slice the air in two. The cheap chandelier above us swayed, the sound of glass faintly trembling. Mom sat stiff, arms crossed, pretending to stay calm. Dad's fingers tapped the edge of his coffee mug, that same rhythm he always used when trying not to explode. I stood near the counter, half-drained glass of water in my hand, heart pounding like I was 12 again. Mason threw a file on the table. "You think you're some kind of saint, John? You're not. You've always been jealous of me." I didn't answer. I've learned that when I talk, they twist it. When I stay quiet, they call it guilt. Mom sighed. "John, just be honest. Did you take the money from the account?" Dad's stare was heavy, not curious, just ready to judge. The glass slipped from my hand and shattered on the tile. No one moved to help. It's always been like this. When Mason needed a car loan, I co-signed it. When Dad's back surgery drained the insurance, I paid the hospital bill. When Mom's medication wasn't covered, I picked up extra shifts. When Lena needed college tuition, I sold my bike. I worked 2 jobs for 3 years straight, warehouse by day, mechanic by night. They called me dependable until I said no once, then I was selfish. And now, after all that, they looked at me like a thief. But what hurt most wasn't the accusation. It was realizing none of them ever really saw what I'd done, only what they could take next. My name's John Hale, 27. Not the favorite, not the failure, just the filler. The one who cleans up after everyone and gets blamed for the mess. I don't talk much. Maybe because I learned early that in my house, truth had no volume, only hierarchy. Dad was a police officer for 25 years. Discipline was his religion. Mom was a church volunteer who believed silence solved everything. And Mason, the eldest, he was the investment. The one they believed in. I was the one who kept the house running quietly behind them. Bills, maintenance, hospital visits, the little things no one noticed. All of it fell on me. Sometimes I wondered if they kept me quiet on purpose, because when I'm silent, they can pretend the family's perfect. But silence isn't peace. It's pressure. And tonight I could feel mine cracking. Because for the first time I wasn't going to stay quiet. I just hadn't decided how loud I'd be. The Hales, Mom, Ellen. Always crying for the wrong reasons. She'd break down if Mason got a speeding ticket, but not when I worked myself sick. Dad, Robert. The kind of man who believes respect must be earned. And somehow, I never earned it. Mason, 30. Arrogant, smooth talker. Always building something big that somehow always collapsed. Lena, 24. Social media influencer. Everything filtered. Nothing real. Dinner that night looked perfect. Roast chicken, wine glasses, candlelight. But the air felt like a funeral. "John," Dad said, "if you had issues, you could have come to me." I smiled faintly. "Like the last time I came to you and you told me to man up?" Lena scoffed. "Here we go," Mom whispered. "Not tonight, please." But it was already too late, because this dinner wasn't about peace. It was about pretending. Mason pushed a folder toward me. "Dad signed the property transfer. I'll be managing the house now." I blinked. Managing? As in owning? Dad cleared his throat. "It's still family property, John. We just thought Mason could handle things better." Handle. A nice word for control. I laughed quietly. Interesting choice. Mason frowned. "You got something to say?" I met his stare. "Just wondering why the property tax receipts have my name on them." Silence. Mom's eyes darted between us. "John, what are you talking about?" "Nothing," I said softly. Just a paper trail I've been keeping for years. Then Lena muttered, maybe they should see what's missing from Mason's folder. And just like that, the air shifted, thick with something close to fear. Dad stood up, voice hard. Lena, enough. But she didn't stop. No, I'm serious. Maybe check what's missing from the file. Mason's face turned red. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, don't I? She smirked. John's been paying the mortgage since 2021. I saw the bank statements. Mom's lips parted. That can't be true. Dad looked at me, for the first time not with anger, but confusion. I nodded once. Every month, on time. Mom whispered, why wouldn't you tell us? Because you never asked, I said. Mason grabbed the folder, riffling through papers. You're lying, Lena shrugged. Then show the receipts. He couldn't, because the receipts were already in my pocket. 3 years ago, Mason had lost everything in a bad real estate deal. Dad refused to let the neighbors find out. We don't air family weakness, he said. So he blamed me, told everyone I'd mixed up the payments. I remember standing in our driveway, listening as relatives whispered behind me. That night, Dad said, you embarrassed this family. You'll pay it back. I did, every penny, quietly. When Mom's health bills piled up, I covered them too. When Mason's truck got repossessed, I pulled money from my savings. And every time I helped, they thanked Mason for holding the family together. I never corrected them. I thought maybe love worked like debt. You just keep paying until it's finally enough. But love isn't a loan, and mine had long been defaulted. I placed a brown envelope on the table. This is the real mortgage contract, I said, voice calm. Signed under my name. Dad frowned. That's impossible. I met his eyes. You'd be surprised what silence lets you do. Mason snatched the papers, his fingers shaking. When he saw his signature, forged on a document he never read, he froze. Mom gasped. Mason? He stuttered. It's not what it looks like. Dad's voice thundered. You lied to us? Mason's face went white, and that's when I said it. Not loud, just steady. I didn't come to fight, Dad. I came to stop being your scapegoat. Mom tried to hold my arm. Please, John. We didn't know. You should have told us. I gently pulled away. You never listened. Mason yelled, You're tearing this family apart. No, I said. You just don't like seeing it without the mask. Dad finally sat down, silent, broken. Mom started to cry. Real tears this time. I looked at each of them. I gave you all my silence. Tonight I give you the truth, Lena whispered. John. But I was already walking away. Behind me, I heard glass breaking, maybe Mason again. But for once, I didn't turn back to clean it up. I packed one duffel bag. No family photos, no guilt, just the keys to my truck and the papers that finally set me free. Lena texted, You did the right thing. They needed to hear it. Mom called. I let it ring. The night air was cool. The moonlight hit the windshield like forgiveness I hadn't asked for. For once, I didn't feel small. They'll never see me the same, I whispered. And I don't need them to. For the first time, my silence wasn't protection. It was power. Months passed. The family stopped pretending. Mason sold his car to cover his debts. Dad took early retirement. Mom started therapy. Lena moved out of the house, said she couldn't breathe there anymore. And me, I rented a small place downtown. Fixing bikes, fixing engines, fixing myself. Sometimes I still think of them when it rains. I don't hate them. I just finally understand them. Broken people breaking others, calling it love. Forgiveness? Not yet. But peace? Yeah. It finally found me. For the first time, I whispered one morning, watching the sunrise through my window. I don't carry their weight anymore. The story didn't end in revenge. It ended in truth. And that was enough. For years I worked, I gave, I stayed silent. I thought love meant endurance. That if I kept fixing everything, maybe one day they'd see me. but sometimes love means walking away and saving yourself instead. If you were in my place, would you forgive or would you walk away forever? Comment below. I want to know how you would have handled it. Like if John's story reminded you of your own silence. Subscribe for more stories of strength, betrayal, and quiet courage. Your voice matters here because sometimes the quiet ones carry the loudest truths.